Hey, what's up, my beautiful people? How you boys doing? It's your boy Devo'S, so motivational, back with another day trade spy recap, and I'm very excited to talk to y'all today. You know what I'm saying? I just love being on the live with y'all, and I found out yesterday's live. I don't. Let me exit this OBS so y'all not seeing 15 versions of me. Yesterday's live, I seen that y'all were not switching screens with me. I don't know why. Whenever I go to that top piece, it will literally pause that whole screen, but I'm just not gonna touch that. But yeah, so I seen y'all didn't really um follow the whole thing, and so mainly it was just me talking on the one Twitter screen, which is kind of goofy. But I mean, most of it was just news, and then I went over my second trade I took. So basically, this live, I'm gonna go over that second trade that I took to show y'all on the charts, and then I'm gonna go over what happened in the market. I didn't trade today. I didn't get what I wanted. I'm gonna go deeper into that, but ultimately, I missed this move. Another what, $20, $30 move, and I keep missing these moves, and that's why I'm getting frustrated. But at the same time, I know there's plenty of money to be made. The market's going to be open tomorrow, and I'm down $30 on the week, which is not bad. I had what I think I've had three trades this week. I've had three trades this week. I'm down $30. I had a 65 winner, another 35 winner, and 125 loser. So around $30 down. And so that's not bad, but tomorrow we're going to finish off strong, and we're going to have our first winning week in about 3 weeks, honestly, because last week we know was a loser week. The week before that, I think I lost about $50. And let me actually, so remember, guys, to journal your trades, because this is ultimately how you're gonna get better, and this is how I don't have to be guessing, right? You know what I'm saying? I can see. So let me see. Let's see. Jesus Christ. Where's my where's my weekly cap? Oh, man. Thursday, Friday. I guess I didn't do the weekly cap last week. But last week was a dang it, and I forgot to mark the days. Friday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. So I've been slacking on this because honestly I've been slacking a little bit on the journaling since I started streaming. But I'm gonna get back to it. I've been journaling it, but I didn't mark the days on them. I just had the dates. But so I've been slacking on a little bit, but I'm gonna make sure to get back to the journaling. So last week, I lost about. I don't even want to talk about last week. Last week we know it was a bad week. The week before that, I ended up minus $21, and I traded every day that week. So that's not bad, right? Minus $21, and you had about 5 trades that week, or at least 4 trades that week. So that's not bad, right? So minus $21. So I had 2 losing weeks, but only minus $21. So that sounds like a winning week to me. You know what I'm saying? And then the week before that, I lost $65. So that's not bad. Minus $65, minus $21. Those 2 weeks. We know last week was a bad week. Minus about $500, honestly. And so last week we're just gonna discard, right? But the week before that, minus $21. Not bad in 5 trades, right? The week before that, minus $65. Not bad, right? Because we pretty much trade every day. This week, this week honestly is kind of an anomaly. I didn't trade two days, and usually I trade about five days every day. Usually I get about a trade a day, but this week I've only had 2 trades so far. But Friday, tomorrow we are gonna finish off strong. Tomorrow we are gonna win big. I'm knowing it. I'm calling it, and I feel it. Okay, guys, and please let me know in the comment section, because you boys know I like to. Hold up. You boys know I like to see y'all get paid, right? And so ultimately, if I have a losing day, knowing that y'all had a winning day is gonna motivate me even more. And so let me make sure this live is running well. Let me set everything up before I get too deep into this and find out it's not working. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing well. And honestly, I'm excited. I am excited to get into Friday. Honestly, ooh boy, I'm waking up early tomorrow, ready to get to it. Ready to wake up, hit that gym, get back home, get to the laptop, get that broker open, get these charts open. I'm ready to get the trade in. We not gonna rush a trade. We're gonna follow our strategy. We're gonna follow our disciplines, but we are gonna get in, and we're gonna stop being scary. Cause honestly, I know it doesn't even matter. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's why, like, in my head, I wanted to take a trade, and it would have been a profitable move, but I didn't take it. So it doesn't matter. We're not gonna talk about what I was gonna do or what I was thinking about doing. What did I do? I didn't take a trade today, okay? But we are gonna go further into these charts. Let me make sure everything is running well for you boys and girls. And we're gonna go over everything, okay? And we are gonna go over everything. So like I said, I hope all of y'all are doing good. I hope all of y'all made some money today, and I hope all of y'all are getting 1% better, okay? Because ultimately, even though I didn't take a trade today, even though I'm down 30 bucks this week, we are still getting better, okay? Just because you might be down some money, just because you might be having a losing week, ultimately, if you're going over your trades every day, if you know you're still learning and you're putting in effort, and it might not be 100%, but at least strive for that 90%. You know what I'm saying? Strive for 100%, but you won't always get to 100%. But just strive. You know what I'm saying? And just work hard at it. If you know you're trying and you're really trying, you're studying, you're going over your trades, and ultimately you know you're learning from your losses, that's all you can ask for, right? Because eventually it will click. You know what I'm saying? Eventually it's gonna click, and I'm saying that to you, and I'm saying that for me too. Eventually it's just gonna click where you start firing, making money, okay? So remember, these are tuition fees. I'm down 30 bucks. That's a tuition fee so far, but we are gonna be up. We are gonna be up, okay? We are gonna be up, okay, boys? So let me get this running. Let me get this running real quick. Okay. All right. Had to post it to the story real quick. Let them know we on live, right? Okay. So we're gonna go over my trade for the day. Well, I didn't trade. We're gonna go over. You see this big old market sell off, 528 all the way down to 509. I have a reason for that. We're gonna go over some news. We're gonna go over some news that's coming out tomorrow. And ultimately, what I can see going into the market, and it shouldn't be too long of a trade. Excuse me. It shouldn't be too long of a live stream. And tomorrow I'm gonna have remember, so the days that I trade and I have my trade recaps, I'm going to drop them trade recaps as soon as I'm done trading, because I want to have all my fresh live thoughts out, and I want to get them out for you boys and girls right then and there. So whenever I'm done with my trade and everything, and I'm closing the laptop, like, well, I'm not gonna close the laptop because I gotta record and everything. But whenever, like, I'm done with the market, I'm going to just turn on the camera and I'm just going to show you what I did. And I'm going to post that video quickly. But then ultimately, I will still come with the live stream later on in the day, because I just love doing this and love going over it with you guys, right? And ultimately, we know at the end of the day, that's when the whole market's done. And you already know more news most likely is going to be out, okay? And so let's get to it, okay? And so to start the day, what did we have? Well, hold up. Actually, to start the day, what do we have? We got to come to our news. Okay, sorry. Excuse me. To start the live, let me go over my second trade from yesterday. Okay. So my second trade from yesterday, we know we got this huge pump out of nowhere. I had looked at the news late, well, 3 minutes late, right? Once I seen that news It said 3 minutes ago. I opened up the chart. Price was literally like all the way up here already. Actually, let me go to my 1 minute because obviously that's where I really trade on. My 5 minute I just like to kind of look at. And 5 minute I think is honestly where I need to be at more, just to see the overall things and not get so caught up. Because remember the 1 minute is the hairs and the lines in the hand. Please, you gotta watch these lives because I be coming out with some knowledge every time, okay? And so please watch them. And I love you guys and girls. And so remember, the 1 minute is the lines and the little hairs and the little calluses, right? Because it's all the details. But the 5 minute, the 15 minute, that's when you start just seeing the hand. You start getting the actual just scope of things, you know what I'm saying? But in the 1 minute, you start seeing literally every single 1 minute candle, every little detail. You start seeing the hairs and everything, okay? And so I got in. So it jumped all the way up. I got in at this pullback. I got in like right here, literally at this candle, middle of this candle. I wrote it up. I had a contract way out of price because, like I said, I had lower amount in my Robinhood, and I already had a trade in that day. And I'm on a cash account, right? So whenever you trade, you have unsettled funds, so you can't trade. So you can't get those funds until the next 24 hours, right? Or the next day. It's not 24 hours, just the next day, right? So I only had about 150 in my account. So the only option price I could buy was way out of the money. So I bought a 540 contract price when we were all the way over here, down at 527. I think I had a 541 strike price. And literally, if I would have just held that strike price, I would have got like, obviously you don't want to hold it till the 3 o'clock expiration date. But like, I would have got like close, right, to this 539 if I would have held it. And that's where, I'm a little mad at it, but because we had this pump over here, you remember whenever we had this big old pump and then the drop because it was fake news, I didn't want that to happen on me again because I already knew that I already like caught the trend late, and I got in at this pullback when it was right here, right? I got in at this white candle. I was in the middle of this candle, and when it started breaking up, look, let me zoom in. I'm gonna show you exactly where I got out. I was up about $75, and then I had got this candle right here. So at the moment, hindsight is 2020. So hindsight, it's just a wick, but in the moment, it was just a red candle coming down, and I didn't want the same thing to happen, and that other trend just start breaking down. And so once I got this red candle start coming back, I hopped out. Up what? I think it was $33. Up $33, and ultimately, we know that was just a wick, and it broke up even more, and I could have been up about $200, right? Because that's about $8 move, right? And so, a little frustrated at that, but we gotta move on, right? You can't do nothing about it. But learn from it, right? So, just move on. But that was the second trade of the day. I made $35 on $33, but I just say $35, right? So I made 30. Just to be transparent, fully transparent, I made $33 on it, and previously in that day I lost $124. I just rounded it up to 125, but since we're being transparent, I made $32. I lost $124 previously that day, and so the 33 then minus 124. So I'm just gonna say 35 and 125. So down 90 or 95. I think 90, right? I'm not good with this math stuff. So $90, and then I had made $65, a legitimate 65, not just rounding up, the day before. And so down what, $25, $30, whatever. So not down much, right? Not down over $30, right? So $30 we're down. But we are gonna win big. We are gonna win big tomorrow. I'm already feeling it, okay, boys and girls. And so that was just showing y'all my trade from yesterday real quick. And now let's go in to start the day. What did we have? And so I told you guys yesterday that I actually did want the pullback. I did want a pullback. I literally went over that yesterday. You couldn't see the actual chart, but if you just listen to me talking, you could hear me saying I could see this happening, then this happening, then this happening. But everything I was actually showing wasn't showing, which is kind of frustrating. But hey, what can you do? Let me pull it up on my phone, because if I had it on my phone, I would have been able to see that y'all couldn't see nothing. Okay, so y'all can see my screen. Y'all can see my screen now. Okay. All right, so let's get to it, okay? And so, what did we have to start? Oh, okay. Before I know I'm all over the place. I'm just a little excited today, okay? So I'm just hopping everywhere, but stay with me, okay, boys and girls? 'Cause I promise you, I promise you, I'm telling you important stuff, okay? And so, what did I want to see? I actually wanted to see the pullback to this order block before getting a reaction if we had the good data, which we did have good data, and so I was wrong. You know what I'm saying? I said if I call this out, yesterday I said I wanted y'all to listen to me because when it happens, I don't want y'all to say it didn't work. Okay? Well, y'all listened to me, and we had the good data and everything, and we still had the drop. So I was wrong. Okay? I have no problem admitting that, okay? That's what we're going to do here. When we wrong, we're going to call out we wrong, okay? And so, but what did I want to happen? I wanted to see a pullback down to this order block before getting a reaction. So basically a fake out, because if we had good data, it would have been a fake out because people would have been like, okay, good data. We already had the pump, the pause on tariffs. Okay, we're going to pump. We're just going to pump off rip. No, it would have been a fake out, which was what I thought was going to happen. A fake out touching this order block before ultimately, creating higher low, and then before, breaking this resistance, right? That was one of the scenarios I was seeing that could happen. Or we get a pullback, sweep these lows, and hit this fair value gap, this gap right here, before ultimately trying to climb up and test this resistance. And then I said if we had bad data, we could literally just, see just a pullback, literally like see a pullback, like how we did this actual pullback to this middle of this fair value gap. So you see how these fair value gaps work, because it literally pulled back to about the middle of this fair value gap, a little bit more to the middle of this fair value gap before getting bought up, and you see this big reaction. That's why fair value gaps are important, right? If you were just like, oh, it's just sell, and you didn't even care about this, I mean, to start this fair value gap, you would have been making money. But if you were still just trend chasing down this whole fair value gap, which when we were just falling down and we tested this area of support, I actually marked this out because, so I marked this out right here before it even broke it. I marked this out because I'm like, okay, if it pulls back into this fair value gap, this is obviously where buyers are at. So I was like, at any moment it could hit this and get a reaction. So I didn't even trust getting it after it broke this area, I didn't even trust like getting it to move. And that's where it's like, I don't know, man. I don't think I'm overthinking it, right? That's not overthinking it. I'm probably just being a little too cautious, like whenever I see the trend, because I see the trends going, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, I see the trends going, but I'm like, okay, so this is really what I wanted to start today, right? So we had the good news, right? But obviously we started selling off, right? We started selling off, but we had good news, right? What did I want to happen? I wanted us to do some type of fake out in this sell-off, right? So I seen the sell-off coming, but I'm like, okay, a little sell-off, then let me see you clear this gap, right? Because we gapped down from this 546 all the way down to 533, right? So I wanted to see us fill some type of gap before eventually breaking down again. That's really what I wanted to see. So that's why, and sorry, I know I'm sitting weird in the chair, but that's how I'm a little comfortable. But so that's why I wanted to see. I wanted to see us fill that gap, right? So let me come down to my 1 minute. So literally, look right here. We see this breakdown, break up, breakdown, range a little bit. And I'm seeing all this. Okay, I'm watching the whole market, right? Excuse me. So I just wanted some type of reaction like this. Give me some type of reaction in the middle of this gap, and then start breaking down some more, if that's what you wanted to do. But that's really what I was looking for, and so that's why I didn't get in any of this, right? And obviously I trade the 1 minute, so this is like kind of like a rangy, right? And that's what I'm saying. Maybe I need to start scaling back into my 5 minute, because I do look at my big time frames, right? I look at my big time frames. I go to my 15 minute, and obviously I see, okay, fair value gap. Okay, what trend are we in? What are we doing? Where are resistance? Where are areas of support? And my big time frame and stuff like that. But then ultimately, I just like to be in my 1 minute to just see all the hairs, right? All the little hairs and calluses, right? but I think maybe the 1 minute might be just like, I don't know. Maybe I need to be in my 5 minute more, because in my 5 minute, look at this. It looks like a straight down. You came back up, right? But then when you broke down and you broke back up, you broke structure, right? Because as you see, look, we have a high. It created a low, right? And then it came back. What the heck? What kind of, my bad. I don't know what that was. Okay. So we had a high, and this is in our 5 minutes. So if I feel like if I was in my 5 minute, I would have seen this better, right? Because in my, Jesus Christ, because in my 1 minute, it looked a lot rangy, right? But in my 5 minute, look at this. A high, a low, it came back, it tested this high, didn't break it or nothing, right? So that's rangy, right? That's the rangy, right? But then it broke structure, creating a lower low. And what did it do? It pulled back to this order block, right? We know what these order blocks are, right? Because if you watch the market structure breakdown, we know what these order blocks are. They're areas of the orders, right? They're areas, it's the candle or candles before your next leg down or your next leg up, right? Before your next break of structure leg, right? That's what I'm saying with the leg down or leg up. So in this case, in a bearish trend, this is a bearish order block, and so this is our candle before our break of structure leg down, right? Because we broke structure downwards, and this is our leg, right? So it pulled back into this candle, it pulled back into this order block before breaking down, right? And what would I have been looking for? I would have been looking for a break of structure right here, right, for my take profits. But ultimately, what would I have done? I would have rode it down till I got some type of reaction, right? Some type of like get out reaction, right? And so if I would have had this right here, and I already had this right here marked, right? And so if I would have known it, okay, to be cautious when it's coming into this fair value gap, I could have been cautious, right? And I would just keep writing it down, keep writing it down, keep writing it down, because there's really no reaction, right? No reaction really in my 5 minute, right? But then that's when, if you come back to your 1 minute, you're gonna see all these little hairs, right? See, it's your 1 minute. It's too much to get caught up in to stay in it your whole move, right? Like, you go into your 1 minute to get your sniper entry, to get in exactly at that order block, right? So I could have got it exactly, you know what I'm saying? Like exactly, you know, to the like T, you know what I'm saying? To really get it to that T, right? But ultimately, you see, whenever if it would have broke structure and then had this pullback, it would have had me scared, right? Because I'm like, oh, okay, that's a lot of struggle, and I would have seen this pullback, and I probably would have got out in the middle of here, right? Because that's it looks like a lot of buyers, right? But if I cut on my 5 minute, that's this candle, right? But it's still really nothing, right? In your 5 minute, it doesn't really look like nothing, right? Because you have our order block, break of structure, basically had just a pullback, a regular pullback, but in the 1 minute, it kind of looks like much more. But in our 5 minute, we just had a regular pullback and just a breakdown, and you literally would have just wrote it down, right? Like, man, there's so much money to be made, man. Oh, man, so much money to be made. I'm going to tell you real quick where I was thinking about getting in. I was thinking about getting in at this 525, but I didn't really want to trend chase. And, yeah, I didn't really want to trend chase, and I seen this area. This is an area of support. Why? Because this is where buyers step in. So I had this area marked, and then I had this area marked, and then so it was like, and then with all the good news, I was just very cautious because we had good news. On top of good news, we had good PPI. That means good CPI, which means consumer price inflation, and it was lower than expected. So let's go look at that real quick. Make sure everything's still running good. Okay, so what did we have? We had consumer price inflation, and the previous was inflation rate year after year, and then consumer price inflation. Yeah, CPI. I don't, whatever. I don't know what this 319, 320 stuff, whatever. But this inflation rate year after year, this is what's important right here. So the 2.8 was our previous. Our forecast was 2.5. Hold up, man. Hold up, what's going on? What was the actual then? I know the actual was 2.4. What's going on? I don't want to. Hold on, I'm gonna refresh it, but I don't want to refresh it and mess up the stream. What the heck is going on? Okay, yeah, all I had to do was refresh it. Okay, yeah, that's all I had to do. I want to see real quick it didn't mess up the stream. I kind of had PTSD from that Chromebook. Every time I did something on that Chromebook, it shut my whole stream down. And just make sure real quick. Stay with me, my beautiful people. And y'all know I gotta give me a drink on here. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. So we back in the game, baby. Okay. So yeah. So I knew it, right? I knew we had the 2.4, right? I was like, what's going on? Why isn't it showing it? All I do is refresh it because I've had this. I keep this open, right? I don't even close it because obviously every day we might have almost every day we have some news, right? And so this was very important, our inflation numbers, right? And I always explain it because you never know, we might have new viewers, right? So if inflation is down, that means things cost less. Well, if inflation is down, that means the Fed can cut rates, right? Because that means we're not spending as much, right? If the Fed cuts rates, that means lower interest rates on things and stuff like that. So lower interest rates, what does that mean? More money in our pockets, because that means it costs less for goods. If it costs less for goods, that means more money in our pockets. More money in our pockets, that means more money in the markets, okay? So lower inflation numbers is good because what is the Fed looking for? The Fed is looking for inflation numbers to be closer to 2%, and so he can cut rates. He said that multiple times. He says it literally every time he speaks that he wants inflation closer to 2%. So as we see, we're getting closer to that 2%. So that is good news, right? Because rate cuts are getting closer, right? And our previous inflation numbers were 2.8%. Our consensus, which means what everybody basically priced in and thought it was going to be, 2.6%, and the forecast was 2.5%, basically. And we beat all those numbers. We had 2.4%. So you see what I'm saying? We had that good news on top of what? Oh, that's a different news I'm going to get into. On top of the news that we already know, Trump paused the tariffs and lowered the reciprocal tariffs to 10% and paused them for 90 days, right? So they can get the deals worked out. And so, sorry, boys and girls, let me pull this up and everything. Okay. So yeah, that's good news on top of good news, right? But we did have the bad news. He raised China's tariffs to what previously said 125%, as I could just already go into this. But China's tariff rate will jump to 125%. White House official confirmed to CNBC. So we see he dropped his country-specific tariffs, which is reciprocal tariff, down to 10% rate for all trade partners except China. And then at a cabinet meeting, Trump declined to rule out. So this is also today what he said was, so they asked him a question, and I would play a video, but then I would have to actually, yeah, it's right here. Do y'all want to watch it? Okay, I'll play it.
It takes dedication to leave your life.
Y'all don't want to hear an ad. Okay, I'm not gonna play it, but I already watched the video, so I'll just tell you what it says. Okay, and so basically, the lady asked him, will he be extending the 90-day period? And he said, well, he's working out the deals with them, and if they do not get the deals that he wants, we're basically going to go back to the situation we're already in, which is the high reciprocal tariffs on each country, right? So that's basically what he said, right? So I mean, it's not good or bad news. It's kind of like we already know that, right? It's like kind of like you put the 90-day pause. And so it's he basically it's really not saying nothing, right? We already know what that 90-day pause means. Is the tariffs aren't done. It's just a pause so they can do the negotiations. So she asked the question, will he be extending the 90-day tariff? Basically said, well, if we don't work out a deal, we're just going to go back to what we already previously had. So it's not really no new news to that, right? I'm just telling you kind of a little bit more of what's happening. But we did get the China tariff rate jump from, it was um supposed to be 125%, but it came out and turned out to be 145%. So that's not good news. That's not good news. But we did have the inflation good news, and the pause was still good news, right? So I thought we could have had some type of bounce somewhere, maybe from this support, or maybe like if we dipped a little bit into this fair value gap, maybe some reaction. But no, we just had a sell off. We just had a sell off. We dropped down $10 in pre-markets and overnight markets, right? And then dropped a whole nother what's 33 minus 9? Jesus Christ. I'll just say $22? Then dropped another $22. So it's like, man. So basically, but I'm not too surprised, okay? I was surprised because we had good news, but this was basically just a pullback from this heavy, rip. It's basically just kind of a pullback, so not too surprised. I could have made money, but obviously could have, should have, would have, what I'm saying? Learn from it, move on, capitalize the next day, right? So basically that's all we had was basically a pullback, and we're creating, it's looking like we're creating higher highs, right? Higher highs and higher lows, right? Because look, it's looking like we bottomed, bounced. I'm not saying this is the bottom, because I have said that we could probably create new lows eventually if things still don't get worked out, because as you can see, we're not out of the waters yet. We're not out of the waters yet with these tariffs. It's just a pause. China and the U.S. are still basically going at it with this trade war. And so we're not out of the woods yet. We're still all the way down from all-time highs, right? You know what I'm saying? If I come to my daily, pull out my ruler. If I come to my daily and come back to our candle, we're still down 14%. You know what I'm saying? So we're not close to out of the woods. We're still in correction territory. Because what is correction territory? 10% down to 15%. Down to 19%. So we're still in the correction territory, but we were closer to recession bear market territory, right? Because what is bear market recession crash territory is 19.99% and more, basically 20% and more. And we were at, oh snap, yeah, we hit the 21%. Yeah, we hit the 21%. So basically it just kind of gave a relief, like, okay, we got some good news. We might not be in a recession. You know what I'm saying? Because Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and I think JP Morgan or JP Dimon, one of them. But I know Goldman Sachs, they have like 60% recession chances, and I know they lowered them to like 45%, and one of them still has 60%. So recession, you know what I'm saying, is still like kind of up there. You know what I'm saying? With like chances. So basically, but we still just kind of pulled back out of that, you know what I'm saying? Because basically with the pause of the tariffs and everything, so it's like good news, so it's like a little relief. So it's like, okay, we'll pull out of this recession bear market territory, but we're still in the correction territory. You get what I'm saying? And so let me come over here. And so yeah, so okay, let me come back to like a little bigger. Got a little fly flying around. Okay, so as you can see, we're trying to create these higher highs and higher lows. So we have a higher low right here, then we had a higher high, and now we're creating this higher low, right? You see, we reacted off this fair value gap, and it looks like we're trying to create higher lows. So tomorrow we could possibly get a pump, because usually on Fridays we do get some pumps, right? Usually on Fridays we finish the Friday pretty good. So what am I looking for tomorrow? I want to see us reclaim this. Actually, I think we already did reclaim it. Let me see. Let me come down to my 500. Don't mind what I'm doing. My arm was itching. Okay, that's why I just like basically bit myself. Arm was itching. Okay. So yeah, look, what are we doing? We came back up, and now we're using this as an area of support. You see, it broke up. It's trying to create these higher highs, higher lows, right? It's trying to create this trend. It broke up, past this area of support, so it's not making it a resistance, right? We broke it as we broke through it. Look, they try to break back through it, but look, what did the bulls do? The bulls bought it back up and broke. Well, that's kind of like a sweep, but that's a break of structure. We closed some candles above it. That's a break of structure. But if we count that as a break of structure, we have our higher low. What did we do? We gave a change of character, right? And so, excuse me, man. Excuse me. So, honestly, I don't know. This is more of just sweeps, right? It's not really a break of structure. It's kind of just sweeps. So I count this as a pullback, and it's just kind of trying to hold this support right here. And so if we can hold this support and try to trend up, we can we're already right here, but we can hold this support, or we gap down a little bit tomorrow and we break through the support and hold it, and I can see we start trending up. I'm in. I'm telling you, I'm gonna make some money. We're gonna finish this week off strong, okay? Minus $30, but we're gonna finish up. We're gonna finish positive this week. We are, and that'll be our first winning week in about, because before that bad week last week, and the minus 65, and then I think what was the other one, minus 25 or something like that. I remember the 2 weeks before that I was break even, and so that's when my confidence started building, right? Because I went from losing weeks and stuff, and then I had a break even week, and I traded all that week. The next week I had literally a break even week, like minus 0, plus 0, but I traded every day that week, and I'm not just rounding it up. It was literally like plus 0. It literally like even all my trades out. All my wins and losses literally equaled up to $0 both of those weeks. So I had a break even. Then I had a minus 20 something, which was like, man, I thought we was on the edge of a winning week. And then the next week, I lost like $65. But I honestly remember that week. I was literally up till that Friday. I literally remember that. I was literally up to that Friday, and that ended up making me have a losing week, right? And so I was still, that's why I was feeling good, you know what I'm saying? That's why I was feeling good. And then I had a bad week last week. Horrible week last week, okay? Horrible week last week. The second week I started streaming and showing y'all my stuff was my worst week, okay? And so that's what comes with it, right? Y'all are gonna see the wins, the failures, not failures, the setbacks, the wins, the setbacks, and everything, okay? But ultimately, we're down $30 this week. That, even if I did finish off minus $30, that is a win, okay? That, you gotta understand, in trading, to only be down, to be a trader and to only be down $30 in 1 week, and to get what I'm gonna trade tomorrow. So to have, say if I was only down $30 in 2 trades, I guess, and 2 trades is not much. So 2 trades isn't much, right? Oh no, 3 trades. 3 trades isn't much, but 3 trades and then only minus $30. Say I didn't trade tomorrow. That's still nothing to really complain about. You know what I'm saying? Tuition fees, remember, tuition fees. And so, but tomorrow we're gonna finish the week off strong. I'm already knowing it. I'm excited for it, and I gotta win something. I gotta win something because I know I'm on the edge of it. I know what I'm talking about. Okay, I know what I'm talking about. I'm not saying like I know everything, because I'm still studying. I'm still watching videos. I'm still watching these traders that I know are making thousands. I'm watching TJR making almost 200 racks. Literally, he said 200 racks in 2 days or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still watching everybody. You know what I'm saying? I'm still learning. But ultimately, I know I have enough knowledge to be a profitable trader. It's just about executing, and just keep following the rules. Lately, this week I've been pretty good on my disciplines and rules. Last week, we know I choked my disciplines and rules. This week, I've been good in my disciplines and rules. I know I have enough I know I have enough knowledge to be a profitable trader. I know I do. I know it because I've studied way too much on this. I go over these charts way too much. You know what I'm saying? I know too much to on this trading stuff, and I watch it. I literally watch this stuff 24/7. I literally do this stuff 24/7. You know what I'm saying? I really don't care about nothing else but this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And learning this stuff, because ultimately now that I'm sharing it with you guys, it even pushes me harder to study it and learn it, because I want to come to y'all and give y'all the knowledge, and I want to come to y'all and say, like TJR, I made 47 racks in one day. You know what I'm saying? So it just pushes me to keep getting better. And so I know I have enough to be a profitable trader. It's just about actually executing and being it, right? So I know we're gonna get to it, okay? And I know y'all are too, okay? If y'all are on this journey with me, we're gonna grow together, okay, boys and girls? And so we went over basically the news that we already have tomorrow on that. We have PPI tomorrow, which I'll go over, and then that should be pretty much it, right? So what am I looking at tomorrow? Excuse me. Okay, if we're bullish, I want to see us probably break down. We'll probably end up falling a little bit pre-markets before I want to see us come up and regain this area of support before breaking up. Right, pretty simple. If we fall, I honestly want to see us break this low, which would be awesome. If we're trending down, break this low, and we could honestly be cautious of that, right? Because that's why we want to wait. I wait about 30 minutes. I want to trade from like 9:15ish to about 10:30ish, 11ish. You know what I'm saying? Those like time, because you want to see the market a little bit try to play itself out, because in the morning it's a lot of fake outs, a lot of just ranging or whatever. It's trying to just get orders filled. You know what I'm saying? Get people in the market, get people buying, selling, basically getting all these orders in the market. The big boys are building their positions, you know what I'm saying? And so that's why you wait a little bit to get a grasp of what's going on, let things play out, create your strategy, you know what I'm saying? Just get everything, just not rush into everything, you know what I'm saying? And so I could see us, if we're bearish, I want to see us take over this, break this low, and then I'm going to be looking at this gap right here, because we could break this low before, oh my God, man. We could break this low and just be sweeping it to test this gap right here before ultimately trying to break up, right? See, I just did that. Okay, yeah. So we could be sweeping this low, coming into this gap and trying to break up to be bullish. That looks like an actual really good setup, because that would be a fake out, sweeping these buyers right here for actually pulling into this gap and then coming up and sweeping all these sellers, right? So that would be nice to see. That would honestly be really nice to see to start the day. Or like I said, if we just start off bullish, I could see us falling pre-markets and trying to, what the heck happened? If we fall a little bit and we're bullish pre-markets, I can see us falling maybe like around here, maybe trying to come down right here, make this an area of support, right? We could make this a little area of support before breaking up, reclaiming our this other area of support, and then breaking up, trying to create higher highs, right, and higher lows. So I can see those two things happening. Either way, I'm going to trust the trend. When I see the trend, I'm going to wait for my fair value gap, wait for my pullback into my fair value gap, my order block, pull the trigger, I'm in. You know what I'm saying? I'm done being hesitant, because these couple days this whole week I've really been really hesitant. I've had 2 winning trades, 1 loser. I've had 2 winning trades, but even on my winning trades, as you see, and I went over them, they could have been way bigger, right? I was in at a good area and everything. They could have been, well, my first one, we know I got in at the retracement, and so I actually got out perfectly, so I could have locked in those gains. But if I would have waited for the actual pullback, so I had a good setup, right? I had the good setup, I had the good strategy and the good wanting it to happen. I just need to be a little more patient, wait for the actual pullback to test that previous support, making the resistance and breaking out further. Please, if y'all are not following these recaps, y'all have to follow them. Please, guys, just trust me with it. You have to follow them, because each of these lives and stuff, I go over some good information for you guys, okay? And ultimately, you know what I'm saying, I love talking to you guys, okay? And so, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I've had good setups, I've had good patience. I just need to execute, okay? And I'm going to execute, okay? Just stick with me. We're going to execute together. We are going to execute, not just me. Y'all guys, y'all boys and girls are going to execute too. I know it. If you made money today, please drop money in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Please drop money in the chat. You know what I'm saying? And so let's go over our little news that we have coming out tomorrow. And then that should be pretty much it for this recap. And remember, so on the days that I didn't trade today, right? So that's why I just came out with a recap live at the end of the day. But on the days that I do trade, I'm going to drop that trade video. It's going to be an actual video, not just a live stream. I would drop the video in the morning, but I will still come on live later with you guys, all right? Don't worry. The lives are always coming daily, okay? I love being on here with you boys and girls. So let's go over our economic news that we have coming on tomorrow, which I already said it, but we're going to go dive deeper into it. And then that should be pretty much it, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to let you boys and girls go. I know it's a little late already. I hopped on a little late because I was trying to do some things. But, you know, got to get on here with you boys and girls, right? And so let's see what we have going into tomorrow. Ooh, we have a lot of news tomorrow. GDP year after year. GDP, that's gross domestic product. That's basically our okay, let me not even, what does, because I kind of know what it means, but I'll give y'all a specific breakdown for it. What does GDP mean? Short for gross domestic product. See, I was right. You know what I'm saying? I'll be feeding y'all the correct information. Not all the time, but I be knowing what I'm talking about, okay? I told you the gross domestic product. Contributions to the EC budget were based upon relative GDPs. What does GDP mean in simple terms? Simple terms, gross domestic product is the total value of all goods and services produced within a country's borders during a specific period. Usually a year is a key indicator of a country's economic health, okay? And so that is why our GDP determines what a recession is, right? Because we know, I'm not sure if you know, but 2 negative quarters in GDP. So we have 4 quarters in a year, right? So it's what? We have 12 months. So the first 3 months, January, February, March, we had a negative GDP, right? January, March, April, May, June. So at the end of June, if we have another negative GDP, that will be a recession. We will officially be in a recession, okay? And that is why Goldman Sachs and Jamie Dimon have the recession percentage chances high, but you don't know you're in a recession till the recession is either, well, not over, but until the second quarter, okay? So we won't know we're officially in a recession till June, right? And once June hits, once that negative GDP, if we have a negative GDP, we'll know we're officially in a recession, and you'll get an even more negative reaction, right? And so it's one of those things where it's literally like a reaction right when it happens, you know what I'm saying? Like you can, like right now, the whole sell-off in the market, you know what I'm saying, could be a reaction to our negative GDP in the first quarter, and then like maybe a negative GDP in our second quarter, but ultimately you don't really know, right? And so once that June GDP, our second quarter of GDP drops, if it's negative and it's officially determined we're in a recession, that's when we could see even lower lows, right? And so that's going to be bad for the market, right? If we're in a recession, right? And so GDP just means basically what our country is doing. If our country is like, basically right here means total encompassing all production. Domestic refers to within the country's borders, regardless of who owns the business. So it's showing our country. Why is it important? GDP helps measure a country's economic growth, allowing for comparisons between countries and over time. So yeah, basically our country's economic growth. That's why you want it positive, because that's showing our economy is growing. That's why when you have it negative, that means our country is backtracking, right? When it's a negative GDP, that means we're not growing. We're actually taking a step back, right? So Yeah. So GDP is important, and it's saying that GDP year after year. So I'm not too sure because we already had our GDP for last year. So this is year after year. Um, so let's read this. Okay. The British economy expanded 1% year on year in January 2025, below 1.5% in December forecast. Monthly GDP year after year in United Kingdom averaged. Hold up, yeah, this is United Kingdom. Okay, that's on me. Okay, my fault, boys and girls. I'm like, yeah, GDP, but it's not for us. It's for what is that? Europe, I believe it said. Let me go back to it real quick. Yeah, the United Kingdom. I'm not sure if that's Europe. I'm not the smartest guy. Okay, I just know the charts, right? I'm not sure about all the United Kingdom and stuff. Okay, I follow the charts. Okay, I'm not too good with math. I don't know if I'm pretty sure United Kingdom of Europe, but I'm not sure. You know what I'm saying? So don't judge me on that. Okay, I didn't claim to be a country expert, right? I claim to know a little bit. I'm not gonna say all of it. A little bit about the markets. Okay, just follow with me. Okay, that's not really important, right? So what do we have for our American, right? So yeah, I was like GDP, right? I was like, no, we don't have GDP. I was like, what is the GDP? We already had our GDP for our first quarter. It's not time for our GDP for the second quarter yet. But we have PPI. PPI is producer price inflation. So let's search what that is, right? What does PPI mean? Just so we can get, just so I don't have to throw it on top of my head because I'm not exactly sure what it means, but I know it's something to do with producer price inflation, producer price index, okay? So the PPI tracks changes in the prices that producers and manufacturers receive for their goods from retailers and distributors. It's a measure of inflation from the seller's perspective, providing insights into potential future consumers. Okay, so what I'm thinking that is, by what it says, PPI tracks changes in the prices that producers and manufacturers. Okay, so the tariffs, that could be okay. That could probably be bad. That could potentially be pretty bad. Okay, because it's saying the producer price index is an index of what the sellers, not the consumers, because the CPI is the consumers, right? How much we're spending for things, right? How much we're spending, but the producer price index is showing a measure of the inflation from the seller's perspective. So I guess maybe the tariffs, how they have to pay more for the products on the goods that they get from maybe China, right? The China tariffs on us, so their prices are going to be more expensive, right? So I'm thinking that could honestly come in pretty bad, right? You see what I'm saying? Because if they have tariffs on us, that means the people that the businesses, right, have to pay more to get the products, right? And so that's what I'm thinking it is, because it's the inflation on their products, right? Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is, okay? And so I like this, you know what I'm saying? We're learning together, we're breaking these things down together, okay? And so all we really got to know, without getting too deep, if it's better than expected, if core PPI is better than expected, the forecast is 3.5%, the previous was 3.4%. So see, yeah, I think it's exactly what we just said, because they have it forecasted at 3.5%, but it was previously 3.4%. Previous before tariffs, it was lower, and now it's forecasted higher because of the tariffs. Okay, so see how we're breaking this down and we're learning together. We're gonna keep doing it, okay? And so yeah, so it's forecasted at 3.5%. If we see it at honestly 3.4%, that could be pretty big, right? We could get a pump. If we see it bad, we could probably get more of a dump. You know what I'm saying? Get more of a dump. But we're not gonna say for sure, because we had good CPI today and we still had the dump. But at the same time, okay, I'm gonna make a little prediction. So you know how we had this dump on good news? Well, I think this was just a pullback. I already told y'all that, right? This was just a pullback because we had this, obviously, this massive run up, right? So really, I think all this was a pullback. So tomorrow, if our PPI isn't too bad, right? If our PPI doesn't like blow it out the water, and if it isn't like 3.6 or something, maybe if it's just the consensus is 3.6. So everybody's basically saying it's gonna be 3.6. but forecasted 3.5%. If we see it at a 3.5% or 3.4%, that could honestly be a big pump, right? We could honestly get a good pump, right? And we could probably honestly try to fill this gap, right? Come up to this gap if we have good news. And so from that PPI, but also I could see maybe a pump because this was just a pullback. But we had good news already. So tomorrow, even if we probably have like a 3.5 PPI, like the same forecasted, we could probably still get that pump because we're gonna price in that good news. You see what I'm saying? Because this was just our pullback. We had a pullback. Even though we had good news, they couldn't just keep flying out of the water, right? We have to have a pullback. So it could be the pullback. You see it reacted off of the, which in a bigger time frame, it's a fair value gap, right? But it's still the demand area, right? This is a demand area, not a support area. Because remember, our demand areas are order blocks and fair value gaps, right? And so you see we had the reaction for higher lows and higher highs, and maybe it could be pricing in tomorrow if we have a pump, the actual good news from our CPI, and if our PPI isn't too bad. Y'all stay with me? Y'all see what I'm saying? So I can see that happen, okay? And so, yeah, I think we pretty much broke that down, okay? I mean, pretty much went through what I had to say. I hope y'all learned something from this live stream. And remember, so each live stream that I go on, we talk about something important, okay, boys and girls? You just got to stay with me. Like, we learned exactly what this PPI means. What else did we learn? We learned exactly what the GDP means, right? Y'all know what the recession, I already kind of knew what that is. But if you didn't know exactly what qualifies a recession, you know what a recession is. You know what I'm saying? We went over what I can expect. Maybe a pump for the higher highs, higher lows. If our PPI isn't too bad and it comes in at forecasted, we could be seeing a pump also with our CPI. But also if that comes in bad, or if we see us break these lows and continue trending down, hey, we're going to write it down, right? But we do got to be cautious of what? If we write it down, remember, it doesn't just go down, right? It's going to have a reaction somewhere, right? So it could use this support because this is where area buyers are, right? We already know this is a fair value gap in our bigger time frame and an area demand. And so this is going to be a heavy support, all right? Regardless if it wants to break down, this is going to be a heavy support at this 508. So I'm going to mark it out. Regardless, this is going to be a heavy support, okay? Regardless, because it pulled back into the fair value gap. It's area demand. And so regardless, this is going to be an area of support, a strong one, okay? And so we could see it pull back. If it wants to drop, we could see it trying to come down and test this 509. If it wants to break through, we can see we have this order block area right here at this 505, right? So if we see a breakthrough, we'll mark out this area and be cautious for it. But ultimately, we're going to ride this trend. We're going to trust the trend. We're going to trust our strategies, trust our disciplines. We're not going to FOMO. We are going to follow our strategy. We are going to follow our disciplines. Okay, boys and girls? So I think that's pretty much it. I think I pretty much covered it all for you guys. Remember, I love being on here with you guys. Remember, videos, recaps are going to be coming in the morning after my trades. But these live streams are daily regardless, that I got to come on here and talk some knowledge, learn, and even it helps me, right? Because I have to go on this live stream, right? Why? Because ultimately I have to go over the market anyways, right? So why not get on here? Because I got to go over the market and see where I did wrong, why I didn't get in the trade, why I missed the trade, how I could have got in the trade, what I could have seen, right? So regardless, I'm going to go over it, right? I'm going to go over it if I'm not on here. So I'd rather come on here and go over it with you guys, right? And so remember, these streams are going to be daily. The video recaps are going to be coming in the morning after my trades. And remember, guys, trading is risky. Follow your strategy, follow your disciplines. Make sure you study so you know what you're looking at and you're not just gambling. Please, boys and girls, go watch my videos. Like, comment, and subscribe. You know I love y'all and I appreciate every single one of y'all. Please go watch those videos. Please watch that market structure, because that market structure one was a pretty good breakdown. I could have done better. I've watched it over and I could have done better, but I did like how I did it. You know what I'm saying? I did like how I took my time with it. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately in the future I will come out with better ones, because I know I could have done better at explaining it and having better examples. But I did kind of like how I did it for my first video. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately we're gonna keep coming out with more videos. Please, boys and girls, go watch some last videos. Watch my daily streams. I love every single one of y'all. Remember, trading is risky. Make sure to study to know what you're looking at. Make sure to have risk management. Make sure to be disciplined, okay? Make sure to be disciplined. Trading's risky. Just as fast as you can make money, you can lose money. Okay, boys and girls. I love every single one of y'all. And remember, stay persistent, passionate. Make sure to get paid. Peace.